Welcome to Press Any Button. I'm Eric.
And I'm Nikki.
And today we're talking about Overcooked 2. Overcooked 2 is a cooperative cooking simulation video game developed by Team 17 alongside Ghost Town Games. Teams of up to 4 players cooperatively prepare and cook orders in absurd restaurants. Players gather, chop, and cook ingredients, combine them on plates, serve dishes, and wash dishes.
Yes, they do.
Does that sound about right?
Sounds perfect.
And I am excited because this is a fantastic game.
Oh, yeah.
We've played a lot of it.
Yes, together.
Yeah.
And so, Eric, are you ready to learn all about Overcooked 2?
I am.
Well, I must say, I'm only going to do Overcooked 2 and not original Overcooked because at some point we may do that game as well. So, the history is not going to be that extensive. But
It's okay that you didn't really want to work that hard on this. It's fine.
No, it's just it piggybacks off of the original game very well. So let's get into it. Okay, so Overcooked 2, as you said in the intro, was developed by Team 17 alongside Ghost Town Games and was published by Team 17. It was originally released for Microsoft Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on August 7th, 2018.
Cool.
So about 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah, I know what Team 17 personally reminds me of. What series of games? Do you have any games particular that you like from Team 17?
No, I've never heard of Team 17 before.
Okay, so they do like the Worms games.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I do know them then.
Yeah.
I love the Worms games. Like, we have a lot of fun. And that makes sense because that's a really good co-op game as well. So is that kind of like something they specialize in, maybe?
I think at this point, yes.
Awesome. So yeah, a little bit more about Team 17. They're an independent developer and game label for premium games. And Ghost Town Games is actually a 3-person indie game studio in the UK.
Huh. So are they, like, does one own the other, or are they just working together on that?
They're just working together. I think Ghost Town Games had a lot to do with the concept. They were really the main people that did Overcooked 1 or the original Overcooked, and Team 17 just came in to help them make their software better, make everything kind of like to the next level.
Okay, to help polish it off for mass consumption.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and say a lot of the information I got was from Reddit. 2 of the developers, the main people that worked on it, they did an AMA.
Oh, cool.
And so I was actually able to get like a lot of information about Overcooked 2 from that thread because it was they're basically doing it to like promote the release of Overcooked 2. It was coming out like that day that they did that AMA. So the main goal for Overcooked, the original one, was to create a co-op game that focused on teamwork. To make a game where you could only succeed by working as a team and having good communication. So cooking and like working in a kitchen, it lined up well with that goal. So like cooking and being in a kitchen, that wasn't the first priority. That wasn't really like what they originally started with. They just knew they wanted to create a good co-op game so people would have to like communicate with each other.
Yeah, and in that sense, it kind of reminds me of like Space Team or something.
Yeah.
Did you ever play much Space Team?
No.
Oh, man.
I don't think so.
That was such a good game. It was like, everyone had the instructions on their cell phone, but they had other people's instructions usually.
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
you had all these like different knobs and levers and buttons and stuff.
Yes. Okay, yeah. I think I played that with you and the band and stuff like that.
Probably. We were super
but it was
into
a while ago, so I forgot the name of it. But so like the approach for Overcooked 2, was the developers had so much they wanted to add to Overcooked after they finished. Not to mention some brand new features like throwing and online multiplayer, that they just felt it needed to be a sequel versus making it like a DLC package.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like an add-on. So, I don't know, I think it makes sense as a sequel and not just an add-on to the original game, because it's on like a whole new system. They're working with Team 17. And plus, they're adding all these features that I feel it makes it different enough to like be its own game.
Yeah, and they also want that new game price tag on there.
Oh yeah, can't forget about that. And they worked really closely with the Switch when they were creating this game. The Switch was kind of like their number one priority, and they wanted to make it equally as good for all of the rest of the platforms as well. But I think they knew the Switch would probably be one of the biggest places people would buy it.
Yeah, and that's also, I think, the weakest hardware. So if it could run on Switch, it's going to be able to run on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah. So like I said before, like working with the developers at Team 17 helped them expand on the original.
So was the first game made with the Team 17 developers? Or
yes, but I think they were more of like a publishing company.
So that's more published by Team 17.
It wasn't, they weren't, it wasn't as much of a collaboration.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so some of the other goals for Overcooked 2, besides like, making it very equal across all the platforms, was to have a great online multiplayer experience. And so you can actually play online with your friends. We did this a couple times, like during the pandemic. We called up a couple of other friends and we would have them on speakerphone.
Yeah, that was actually
and we would just
fun.
all play together, and they would be on their Switch and we would be on our Switch. They also wanted to offer more variety in how the stages played compared to the first game, as well as a more gentle overall difficulty curve. I haven't played the original one, but I did read some stuff, and one of the things that I heard a lot of people say is like the last level is really hard, to the point where some people were like, me and my girlfriend, me and my wife, or me and my friend couldn't beat this level. And we tried multiple times. So I'm kind of like, ooh, how hard is that? Because like some of the levels in Overcooked 2 are kind of hard, but I mean, we beat them all. So
yeah,
I don't know, not that hard. But maybe that was something that they got as feedback from players, is like maybe the difficulty curve was too steep in the first one. So that was something that they wanted to kind of like, I guess, spread out more.
Yeah, I kind of like their approach on this one because it's more of a graded, I think, approach where you can pass the level, but you can barely pass the level.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, passing with like 3 or 4 stars.
Yeah. So some of the stuff they added to Overcooked 2, some of the main features, was obviously the online multiplayer. This is the first time you can cook up a storm with up to 4 players in both local and online multiplayer. So yeah, the other night we were on vacation with 2 of our friends, and we were all in one room playing this game. It got crazy. And then we've also played it online with our friends. So
yeah, in my opinion, that's probably the best way to play it, where you have 4 people just sitting around one console.
Oh yeah, yelling at each other.
Exactly.
They added throwing, so you can throw your fruits, vegetables, meats. You can throw them whole or chopped. You can throw eggs, flour. You can't throw like dishes or pots and pans, I don't think, but most of the ingredients you can throw at each other.
Yeah, so you can throw eggs, but not dishes.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll probably talk about that later. But yeah, it's a cool game mechanic that allows you to toss ingredients, to your fellow chefs, or even straight into like the pan, blender, or on the floor. One thing about this game is there's no germs in Overcooked land, because like you can just throw the food on the floor.
Yeah.
You can.
That's actually a pretty decent strategy just to litter the floor with ingredients.
Exactly. No one cares. You just pick it right back up. I mean, it's gonna be cooked, right? Killing all those germs anyway. Another thing they added was some new level mechanics. You see the introduction of new game mechanics, including moving walkways, controllable platforms. Oh, those are hard. And even like portal doorways.
Yeah.
And those are pretty cool and fun. They make things complicated. The kitchens are even crazier and wackier. You get new recipes, like sushi, pancakes, pizza, all kinds of stuff. And then obviously there's a bunch of new chefs that you get with the second game, including an eagle, mouse, beaver, like an octopus, like an alien. I think there's like a unicorn, all kinds of cool chefs.
Yeah, I like the chefs. They even have like a wheelchair-bound raccoon, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a couple of chefs in wheelchairs. There's like a pirate chef with like an eye patch. All different. It's very diverse. There's like, black chefs, white chefs, chefs with braces, chefs with purple hair. There's animal chefs. I don't know. I just like, there's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
There's actually 54 chefs you can pick from. Some of them you unlock, and some of them, obviously you have from the beginning.
And some are DLC, right?
And some are DLC.
Yeah.
Overcooked 2 also has quite a bit of DLC at this point. They have about 5 different DLC level packages you can buy. I don't really know the term, the verbiage for that, but they actually had like a sale the other day where you could just buy all of them for what was it, like $20 or something.
I think it was like $10.
$10. Yeah. So since 2018, there's been about 5 or 6 extra DLC kind of like add-on games you can play. I guess. Or download, whatever.
Yeah, and the DLC is pretty good.
Yeah. Some of those include the Too Many Cooks pack, the Surf and Turf, and the Campfire Cook-Off, which are all fun.
Yeah.
All right, so are you ready for some fun facts?
Let's do some fun facts.
Oh, yeah. So, fun fact number 1. At first, Ghost Town Games wanted the player to be able to customize their chefs. After a little more reflection, though, they decided against it because the chefs had really taken on like a life of their own at this point from Overcooked 1. And fans of the first game have built like attachments to the chefs, and so they decided that would probably be something that people wouldn't like, and ditch the idea.
Yeah, I agree with that decision. It's better just to go ahead and have like well-designed characters to begin with.
Yeah. Why not have both though? I mean, would it be? I mean, I know it's like a whole extra thing, and it's probably a pain in the butt to do the customized chefs thing, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to have both. Most games have. I don't know. You could pick from both. So.
Yeah.
Or a lot of games do. Not.
They didn't want to
games.
dilute the quality of the characters they created.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I don't need to spend time customizing my chef.
Yeah, you barely can see your chef anyway. I mean.
Yeah, and I like the random ones they have. Like I like being an animal or like an alien.
Yeah, they're
whatever.
pretty. They're pretty ridiculous already. I don't know how you'd spice it up by doing the character creation any more than it's already spiced up.
Yeah, it'd probably just be a lot of extra work, and I don't know. Fans are probably just like whatever. About it.
I think it would be pretty redundant.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll save that feature for Overcooked 3.
Fun fact number 2. A lot of the inspiration for Overcooked 2 was from an old XNA indie game called Storage Inc., which was a local co-op game where you controlled forklift trucks ferrying boxes around a warehouse.
So, Nikki, what's XNA?
So it's actually Microsoft XNA, I think. It's a freeware set of tools with a managed runtime environment that Microsoft developed to facilitate video game development.
Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of that.
So is that like a program, I guess?
Yeah, it's a set of tools you could download for your computer.
Okay, cool. But yeah, Storage Inc. Sounds thrilling. Just driving a forklift truck around. I think the kitchen is way better.
If you can make a game like that fun, though, it can...
That's true. I mean, there's some random stuff that sounds boring, but it's actually really fun. So
yeah, like Goat Simulator. That's You control goat, but they made it just so wacky.
Yeah. Fun fact number 3. Nintendo Switch players who pre-ordered the game got their hands on an exclusive chef, the Platypus Chef. And I'm really jelly because I want a Platypus Chef.
But we would have had to pre-order the game, Nikki, and not
I know. I didn't even know about the game back in 2018.
But then we wouldn't have got it like super discounted for like $10 or whatever, like we did.
That's true. Good point.
Or 15 or.
But I want the platypus. I wonder if we can buy it now. I'll have to look into that.
I don't know if that would be worth it.
All right. And last, fun fact number 4. Overcooked 2 won the Game Awards Best Family Game for 2018.
Huh.
Could you see this being a good family game?
No. It probably rips families apart, honestly.
Oh, no. I think it would be fun. Because, I don't know, adults and kids can play this game.
Yeah, it depends on how controlling the people you're playing with are.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're one of those people that can just play for fun and not worry about getting 3 or 4 stars on every level.
Yeah.
You can only have, your expectations can only be so high.
Yeah, if you can tolerate incompetent other players.
Oh my gosh, Eric. All right. Well, anyways, that wraps up my history/past section.
Good history.
So, do you want to move on to some of the stuff we liked about the game, Eric?
Sure, yeah.
So, you can go first if you want.
So, this is probably one of the best co-op games I've played in recent years. Figuring out how to divide up tasks between each level, you and your friends, is a lot of fun. There's always that puzzly element in each stage that makes each stage different. So you kind of have to have a fresh approach or fresh ideas for each stage. And you definitely don't want to get stuck in that, my idea or my approach is right. You want to try different things.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're playing like us, where we're trying to get at least 3 or more stars on each level. You definitely want to have a strategy and be willing to try different things. Because sometimes it's it'll come close. It'll be 1 or 2 trays is all you need to go up to the next star. And it's you got to do something to be just that much faster.
And when you throw in even more players, when you throw in 3 or 4, it gets even more complicated trying to divvy up tasks. Because there will always be more tasks, I feel than players usually for the most part.
Yeah.
Between expediting, cooking, chopping, cleaning. There's so much to do. There's always different ways to try to divide things up.
Yeah. This is definitely one, when I was reading that AMA, so many people were like, my wife and I play this game. My husband and I, my girlfriend and me. A lot of the guys on there were like, this is one of the only games I can get my wife to play who's a non-gamer or my girlfriend to play, and they're asking to play it night after night,
Yeah.
So I would definitely say this is a good game to play with someone if they're new to gaming, or if it's someone that you're trying to play with but you may not know maybe what game to play with them. I think this is probably one that most people would have fun doing or playing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's a good intro to games I think it could be for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think this game is so fun. So we kind of blew through this game. We were playing today, and I think we still have one more DLC to play through, but
yeah.
And yeah, also, like you said, I like that every level brings on a new and different challenge, making it pretty much impossible to predict what's going to happen in the next level. Because you could play a level and you're like, okay, in this level, your walkways are switching out every 5 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And you might think, okay, in the next one, walkways are going to be switching. Nope. In this one, you have a conveyor belt with a button that you have to choose which direction it's going in. There's always something. They do a really good job of just creating new and different things with each level. And there's so many levels. So it's just crazy they've come up with all those different ideas.
Yeah, I absolutely love the level designs in this game. They're just so ridiculous and over the top that you go, okay, this is the most absurd way you could design a kitchen ever.
Yeah. It's cutthroat kitchen if they could just do whatever the F they wanted, you know? like if real life restrictions weren't a thing, like this would be cutthroat kitchen. Like, now you have to walk on lava.
Yeah. So yeah, you're cooking in hot air balloons, wastelands, mines, on rafts, flowing down the river. Yeah. And then you have the puzzle element to make the stages unique, and like moving platforms or moving stations or sectioned areas only one chef can access.
And the warp doors.
It's
like, so you have to remember which door goes to which like section of the kitchen. And,
and some of the DLC you're shooting each other out of cannons.
Oh yeah, there's one. It's like, what is it? Carnival.
Carnival of Chaos.
Yeah, Carnival of Chaos. And you're shooting each other with cannons, and yeah, it's super like crazy.
One of the things I like is the difficulty feels really good.
Yeah.
As you progress through the game, the dishes will steadily become more complicated, and stages will add more difficult puzzles to deal with. So yeah,
and more tasks that you have to do.
And usually more tasks.
Yeah.
They'll divided up things in weird ways where like, okay, someone has this meat but not this meat, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, at first you start really easy, like you're pretty much just like steaming sushi or whatever.
Well, you're chopping salads
or
first.
Chopping salads,
and then
something really simple, like where you don't even have to cook.
Yeah.
And then slowly you're cooking, and then slowly you're cooking 3 or 4 things, and then slowly you're like baking and cooking things, and then like it just escalates and escalates until, I mean, you're just making like these 4 and 5 ingredient dishes running around like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I like the diverse and charming chefs you get to choose from. And there's so many, and they're all cute. You really just can't go wrong.
Yeah. I like that the controls feel pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
So you can sacrifice a bit of control for speed by boosting your chef around. But if there are pits around you, you're more prone to fall into them or accidentally run into your fellow chefs and kind of knock them out of the way of something they're doing.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that option between control and speed. And as things kind of get down to the wire, you're more prone to like, you know,
make
boost
mistakes.
and make mistakes.
Yeah. And dying is not that big of a deal unless you die with like a whole tray of food or something. Because then you lose whatever you fell with. And then you're like, that's a whole ticket. Oh my gosh.
At that point, you might as well just restart the level.
Exactly.
Well, if you're trying to get 3 stars.
Yeah. I like the Kevin levels. They're like added little bonus, like extra levels that you get. You unlock them as you play the other levels throughout the game. Usually they're slightly or dramatically harder than the other levels. Yeah, some of the Kevin levels we had to play quite a bit to get 3 stars.
Yeah, the Kevin levels
kind
are
of hard.
Definitely fun bonus levels that they throw in there.
And Kevin is King Onion's dog, little doggy, if you don't know. King Onion is like the villain of the game. The story, I don't know. What do you think about the story of the game?
He's like the guy who gives you your task. He's the king of the kingdom. He's trying to save the kingdom, not just he's not the bad guy.
I don't know, he's sus.
I mean, at worst, neutral.
Okay, whatever.
The last positive thing I had was that there's actually pretty good replayability with this game, just for the simple fact that you'll probably want to start new games with different groups of friends or play through the story solo. So you have kind of lots of reasons to go back and start a new game because, you know, okay, here's going to be my game with this person or this group of friends.
Yeah.
Or here's my own like solo playthrough.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. Once you played so many levels, you probably forgot what you did in the first one. So when you go back, it's like, oh, a new thing. Oh, I really like the horde levels because they bring in a whole new aspect. So normally in like a normal level, it's like a normal restaurant. You have people eating at the tables. They're putting in their order. You've got tickets up, and then you have to do them in order. For the horde levels, it's like you have these monsters trying to break into your kitchen, and the only way you can get them to leave is to give them food, like the right food that they ask for. So you might have 3 or 4 doorways with 3 or 4 different tickets up, not in any specific order, and you have to just like try to keep these monsters from breaking in.
Yeah, the horde levels are great. It kind of reminds me of like the zombie mode from Call of Duty. It's a very similar concept where, they're breaking down the windows and you're trying to rebuild them.
Yeah, like you have to rebuild the barrier.
And your funds come from getting out dishes. So your funds to rebuild the windows are based on the limited funds you have.
Yeah, so it's like totally different from the regular levels.
Yeah, and those are part of the expansion. I think it's the Hangry Horde expansion.
I thought there was some horde levels in the original one too.
No.
Dang. I think we've just played so much. I'm like forgetting what's where.
Just blending it all together.
My bad. Sorry, just ignore that one.
Those are still fun levels.
But yeah, speaking of, my last thing that I have is there's just so much DLC available. Like it's almost a whole nother game's worth of, if you get all of them, it's probably 40 or 50 more levels.
Yeah, and it's
not
a
lot.
It's not expensive at all. Yeah, like
it's
I said,
worth it for sure.
It's only like $10 to get like a whole nother game's worth of levels.
Yeah.
Cool. So did you have anything negative to say about the game?
I have a couple of things. Nothing too bad though. Like, I would definitely recommend this game. It's probably one of my favorite ones. Yeah, it's super fun. So I only have two things I didn't like.
Okay.
But one of them is the controls are good and everything, but I don't know. I personally had trouble sometimes grabbing the correct objects because, I don't know, the selection tools seem really sensitive. So if you weren't paying attention, like at the last second, you could accidentally hit your joystick and like move and not grab what you wanted to, which can be very frustrating when you're like in the last 10 seconds of the level, and you're trying to like get something out real quick and you like accidentally grab the wrong thing because you're like right next to another thing. Like, maybe that was just me, but like, I don't know, I thought it was kind of frustrating.
I feel
it
that
wouldn't just kind of like lock on maybe a little harder or something. I don't know.
I feel like that comes down to some of the strategy bit. When you litter the floor with ingredients, you're prone to accidentally pick them up. And also, you're kind of like magnetized to surfaces and counters. So if you're trying to like drop something not on a surface or counter, it's actually kind of difficult.
Yeah.
If that's what you're trying to say.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. There would just be times where I would like be facing, something I wanted to pick up, like a pot of pasta or something, and then I would accidentally end up grabbing the thing next to it. And it's just like, it could just be me because like maybe I wasn't doing it good enough, but I feel like it could maybe just lock on. I don't know. Maybe the lock thing could be better. I don't know. It's probably a dumb con, but whatever. But it was something I had issues with.
No, I'm sure a lot of people have that same problem. That's why I said the controls are good for the most part,
Yeah.
So one of my cons is that there should probably be a big warning on this game that has the potential to ruin relationships.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of inevitable that someone might be a little bit too bossy or think their idea of how to divide up tasks is best when it's clearly not. Try not to be overly controlling when things aren't going your way. I'll say that.
I don't know. I disagree. I think it's all in fun. Like, we didn't really get into any huge fights or anything. There was certain times where you're like, why'd you cut this lemon? And I'm like, it's extra. Just leave it there if you don't need it. You're like, but it wasn't like too serious. And if you take games that seriously, you probably definitely shouldn't play any games with anybody. If it's gonna cause a fight and that's your history with games, don't play this with people. But if you're chill enough to like not get super mad if things don't go your way, this is like most people, I think.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
really
someone's going to need to take like an alpha role for like, and you can end up getting a little bossy in that role.
Yeah, I guess so.
Whether you're trying to be or not.
I could definitely see with certain groups, certain people, that this game would not be good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think for the most part, it's like people are going to have fun and not ruin their friendships over it.
No, I agree with that.
Or break up or divorce.
Just putting that out there.
All right. I will say the single player mode is fun, but not as much fun as the co-op mode.
I actually had that exact same con.
Yeah. It's fun, but I don't know, some of the stuff gets really hard. Because like when you're playing as one player, you still have two chefs. You just have to manually switch back and forth between the two with your controller. So you hit the right and left bumper, and that will switch you from one chef to the other, which is fun, but like sometimes it's just really hard, and it's just like, man, I wish I had a teammate.
Yeah, it's fine.
Especially like the ones with the cannon and stuff. It's like those are really hard to like get in the cannon, switch over, and then go shoot yourself out of the cannon, and then switch over to, you know, it's like a lot of switching back and forth between your two chefs.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I had that as a con too, and it's kind of the game is really designed primarily for 2 players, so it kind of makes sense.
Exactly.
2 player or more. My last con is that some of the online play needs a little bit of work. I'm think back to when we tried to do competitive between 2 random people on the internet. It just couldn't match us with anybody.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe just a lot of people weren't playing it still. You know, it's kind of like 4 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe there's just not that many people to like link up with.
Yeah, that's what I kind of said. Well, there might.
So like maybe that would have been better when it just came out. Like maybe there would have been a bunch of people to play with.
Well, maybe part of the reason there aren't a lot of people to link up with is it's just not very good.
Yeah,
too.
that could be. Yeah, good point.
The chicken and the egg.
Yeah. So Eric, this game has a lot of strategy, right? Like a lot of things you can do.
A lot. We both have a lot.
A lot. Even me, you know, I don't really do strategy. I just go for things willy-nilly.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, the most important bit was when you kind of said at the top, communication. Communication, I always think of like Chef Gordon Ramsay yelling at chefs for not talking during like team events. And that applies very much to this game.
Yeah, it's like Hell's Kitchen.
So yeah, let the other players know what you're doing so they don't do the same thing as you. Or if you accidentally die, they can cover whatever you're doing while you take the time to respawn.
And shout out what you need if you're working on something like, I need an egg. And someone can go grab you an egg if they need, if they can.
Exactly.
Or like, I need carrots. They can go try to chop some up.
Because you can pre-plan all you want, but when you get into the moment, things are going to go a little bit haywire.
Yeah, especially towards the end when you're trying to just get those last few dishes out.
Yeah. So learning how to cover for each other is kind of important.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point. That's what I have. My top one, communication.
Yeah.
The second one, expedite your food tickets in order. It matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to go, like from left to right, and if you accidentally skip one or you add an ingredient that's not supposed to be in there, they'll deduct points, or you won't get as many points for those dishes.
Yeah, I kind of do that as a desperation ploy. Like if you're towards the very end and if you're just trying to get a dish out, maybe
like last second.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter as much then that you don't have all 4 ingredients and it's one later down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, you want to try to do them in order because you get better bonuses for doing them in order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it can kind of mess you up, especially if you're on a team and you're kind of like going out of order. It's like, how do you know who's working on what?
Yeah, exactly. Your first attempt at a level probably won't be very good. This is because you'll need to get used to the level layout and what puzzle element is in the level. Once you played a level, it's a good chance to talk about the best way to divide up tasks and how to handle any problems. So yeah, your first playthrough might not be that great.
Yeah, I agree.
And usually you kind of take that after the level to reflect, like, okay,
yes,
how can we do this better?
Exactly. Just like a sport or something. You're like, okay, what did we do well? What did we not do well?
Yeah, you really need that.
Nikki, you fell off your plank 50 times. Let's try not to do that this time.
Yeah, sometimes it's a matter of, okay, you have this divided up well, but you just have to execute your parts well.
Yeah, and there are some levels where I feel like, especially in 2-player, so some levels they have the kitchen separated into compartments. And there's like some levels where I feel like my chef didn't have as much to do, where I like more of the burden was on you and not me. And so like communication and like making sure you do everything is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been in that situation where I felt like you had more of the tasks.
Yeah, it's like Another thing is keep your dishes clean, because if you don't have any plates or trays, you can't serve any food.
That's true.
And so you can have all of it ready, but like nothing you can do about it because like what are they going to do? Eat with their hands?
Yeah, dishes is one of those things that's kind of easy to forget about until it's a problem.
Yeah, it's usually you need to dedicate someone to dishes.
Yeah.
Especially if there's more than if there's like 4 people playing.
Yeah.
Someone just needs to do dishes.
Usually it's the person who has a little bit more time doing whatever tasks they're doing.
Yeah.
My next thing is to throw stuff on the floor.
Yeah. Or just throw things in general, like especially if there's like a big pit in between the two of you, like, and maybe there's a little narrow walkway. If you can throw something across there and not take the chance of falling in. I mean, there's several instances where just throwing the ingredients
and sometimes getting to a specific ingredient is a real pain and takes a bunch of time.
Yes.
So you just sit there at the ingredient box and just toss it like back or
kind of create an arsenal of like chopped ingredients that you have just readily available so you can just grab and go. You would definitely have to multitask in this game. Like you'll probably have to be cooking rice and chopping something, doing dishes and expoing, adding a topping, grabbing a drink,
and making sure your stuff doesn't catch on fire.
And yes, you have to pay attention to everything, make sure your stuff doesn't catch on fire and burn, because then you have to go grab the fire extinguisher and put it out, which is a whole pain in the butt.
I was going to add on to the last thing I said, get good at throwing.
Yeah.
So like you can throw rice directly in a pot and it'll start cooking, or chop meat right into the pan and it'll start cooking.
Yes.
Sometimes a good throw can save you a ton of time.
Yeah.
And you can hold the throw button down and just kind of like maneuver with your joystick to get the right direction, get the exact direction.
Another thing is just stay alert at all times. Sometimes the pathways will move. Sometimes there'll be lily pads or something. So once you walk on it, they disappear. Sometimes the recipes might just change up in the middle of a level. You'll be making sushi and then all of a sudden there's like pasta that comes up on some of the levels.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that can kind of change up. Like some of the levels, there's people walking through your kitchen and they'll just like knock you out the way. So you just have to stay alert at all times. Be on your toes.
Yeah, that's good advice. On solo play, chopping takes way longer than other tasks for some reason compared to like anything else you do.
I think it's so you can be chopping and switch over to your other chef and have time to actually do something else.
Yeah, and so usually that's the time where you switch chefs.
Yes.
So one is always usually chopping.
Mm-hmm. You have to chop a lot of things.
And also you can use both chefs to chop the same ingredients at the same time to speed things up.
Oh, yeah. I never do that, but I know that usually, you could. But it's like usually you have to go do your own thing.
Yeah, if it's an emergency and you need something like right away.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to space things out a little bit, because if like all 3 of your things get done in the oven at the same time, I mean, you can only run so fast. You can only get one out of the oven, run it over, expedite it, get it out of the oven, expedite it before something's gonna burn.
Yeah.
So sometimes a little bit of space, or timing wise, spacing things out could be like a little helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree. My last thing is, this game at its heart is trying to overwhelm you with tasks. Try not to get overly frustrated when you don't do well. Try to figure out if you need to change your approach or just execute what you need to do better.
Yeah. Don't take it too seriously. Have fun. Like with all games, my motto is to have fun.
And it's always going to feel like you could do better. I mean, there are some levels where we got 3 stars on that we're like, whoa, we feel like we could do way better than that.
Yeah.
Of course.
And now you can get 4 stars on most of the levels. So.
And then they throw in that 4 star once you complete everything, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I could have done better.
So, did you find anything about the future?
So I had the DLCs, Surf and Turf, Campfire Cookout, Night of the Angry Horde, Carnival Chaos.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the future. I guess the future from when it came out, but not the future from now.
I found some articles saying Overcooked 3 is expected to be released sometime in 2022. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything official. So it made me think
I saw that article and it was like, their logic was, well, like Overcooked 1 came out, and then 2 years later, Overcooked 2 came out.
That's stupid logic.
And then 2 years later, we had the, the all-you-can-eat buffet or whatever, whatever the one is they just released for PlayStation 5. It's basically just like the first and second game together.
Yeah.
So not really a new game. And then they're like, okay, so this year we should have Overcooked 3. I was like...
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not really how video games usually work.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, their headline was a little bit misleading, too. It made it seem like it was official.
Yeah. They probably did that on purpose, but...
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything from Team 17 or Ghost Town Games or anything like that. So.
Yeah. So nothing official, but it has been 2 years. So,
I saw another random article that was talking about how Overcooked should have a movie, and I was like, they're like, yeah, instead of taking Tetris and Pong and Just Dance, we need an Overcooked movie. There's so many good characters. I'm like, what? No.
Not
all video games need a movie or a TV series.
Not every
Like,
IP needs a movie. Yeah.
But there's always someone out there that thinks it should be, or that there should be. But yeah, anyways, so Eric, did you complete the challenge of getting 3 stars on at least 10 levels by yourself?
Yeah, not only did I get 3 stars on 10 levels, I got 3 stars on all the main levels from the main game.
Wow, overachiever, huh?
Except for one of the Kevin levels, I don't think I unlocked it.
Should we call you Chef Eric Ramsey?
Yes. That's what you should call me.
Chef Eric Ramsey. So how did you do that? Was it hard? I feel like maybe I made the challenge too easy since you did it for every single level in the whole game.
Yeah, honestly, it was easier just in the sense that I feel like it lowered the standards so low because, it's harder to do 2 chefs. So like you're more limited. So that I feel like it had lower expectations for you. So it gave you more time and gave you a lower score to shoot for.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You can't do as much by yourself as you can with a team.
So, yeah. And usually for the most part, the chopping was the thing that took long. So you just set up one chef to chop and the other chef doing everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some solo play too. And it wasn't that hard until I got to some of those carnival levels where I had to shoot myself out of a cannon. Yeah. That was pretty tough. I still ended up beating it, but yeah, it's definitely not as hard.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're doing as good because, you're used to working with a partner where you're like getting things out lightning fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it lowers the expectations. So it's pretty doable, actually.
Dang it. So no rap this week.
Yeah.
Boo. But we do have something fun to announce.
Yeah,
right?
We're having a special guest on our next episode.
A special guest. Some of you might know this guy.
Yeah, our good friend Michael Cardinal's coming on.
Michael Cardinal. If you remember way back in season 1, we had John Cardinal. So if you're like, Cardinal, that sounds familiar. That's because they're brothers.
Yeah, and hopefully one day we can get Larry, and then we'd have all 3.
All 3.
And then we could get Paul, their dad.
Then we can get all their extended family members. No.
We'll just go through the entire Cardinal family.
Yeah, one by one. That sounds like a whole nother podcast. But yeah, so Michael's one of our good friends. He's like one of Eric's best friends. He's in your band, right? He's the lead singer of my band.
Exactly.
And we asked him like last week, would you want to be a guest? So he sent us an email with the game and challenge in it.
Oh,
are you ready?
I have some guesses I'd like to make.
Okay,
so knowing Michael, he has a Mega Man tattoo.
He does. Mega Man was my first choice of what I thought he might pick, just because, I don't know, we haven't done Mega Man yet, and it's just one of y'all's favorite games, so I thought he might pick that one.
Yeah, but then we were messaging, and he started talking about Steam games. So it made me think it was on Steam.
So Mega Man wouldn't be on Steam.
Maybe one of the newer ones, but I don't know if you'd pick one of the newer ones.
Gotcha.
But there are other games I know he's a big fan of. Like, I know he's a big fan of, like, the King's Quest series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a big fan of, like, Shadowgate. Shadowgate is kind of what I think it might be.
Think it might be Shadowgate? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me click open this email here. says, "Hey guys, I can't wait to join y'all on the podcast. Here's the game I picked out. It's a spooky one. I think it's something you'll both enjoy. All right. The game is Phantasmagoria." Does that sound right, Eric?
I have never heard of this game.
Me either. Like he like, I don't know, he was very organized. So it's like game, Phantasmagoria, platform, PC, available on Steam. He actually gifted it to us. Oh,
nice.
That's so nice.
Thanks, man.
Genre, horror. And then he's like, put who it was developed by and what year it came out.
What year did it come out?
1995.
Oh, man, this is an old one.
Yeah.
Nice.
He even put time to beat about 7 hours. So that's nice. You could play it in like a day or whatever. All right. Challenge. Find out in detail
Ooh.
how.
You're going to have to really pay attention to the story, Nikki.
Yes. How Hortensia, Leonora, Regina, Victoria, and Marie all die. Okay. Sounds like a girl gang. I used to go to high school with a girl named Hortensia. Such a cool name. All right. So, yeah, find out how all those chicks died. I don't know. I'm excited. I like horror games, and this will be sounds fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a good like PC game.
So random. You can count on Michael to just pick something out of the air.
I'm curious.
It seems random. I'm sure it's not, but like I wouldn't have ever guessed this one.
I'm excited to get to hear his history with the game too. Just because it's not a game I'm familiar with.
All right.
And I thought I knew all Michael's things.
Maybe you aren't best friends after all.
Oh no.
Need to work on your gaming relationship.
Yeah, we don't play enough games together.
All right. Well. I guess we are at the end of the podcast now.
That's it. We don't have any more content.
No more.
Yeah, I guess we are out.
I will say, hey, if you're listening, you like our podcasts, maybe you can just go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and rate us. That'll be super helpful. And we always like to hear from you guys on Instagram and stuff. So let us know like what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.